Go live. This is preview. Let's see. Going live. Yes, it's been a while. We don't have Josh, our moderator, here today. We have Marla. Marla's moderating for us today, but Josh generally does all the behind-the-scenes work for the tech stuff. So I got to do a little bit of myself today. But hey, guys, great to see you all here. We are live. Live stream Friday. I am your host, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. Look, you guys. Look at you all. The super chats are already coming in. Look at that. See, you don't see it, but behind the scenes, I've got all the technical gear behind it. Love to see you guys. It's been a couple of weeks since we did a live stream. I was in the beautiful Outer Banks. I don't know if you've ever been to the OBX, as the natives call it out there. Absolutely amazing place to go to for a getaway. Was there with my week with my family, just a little R&R. It was absolutely wonderful. But of course, did some videos there. We had all this crazy nonsense happening while I was out there as well. The world doesn't stop, so it's turbulent times and all. But we definitely want to make sure that we give you the best video analysis content out there. Gang, if you're new to the channel, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. We'll love to have you as a regular part of this channel. Super chats are up, as you can see. I already see some of them coming in. Send me your questions. I will answer them in due course. We got a jam-packed show. It looks like the Republicans are finally waking up. I mean, who would have ever thought? It looks like the stupid party is finally recognizing that if they don't get off their arses and go beyond sending out angry tweets and making a bunch of meaningless, empty threats night after night on Fox, who hardly any of us are watching anymore, they're not going to be a party anymore. The rank and file grassroots, we the people, are seething. We are rising up and rebelling first and foremost against our feckless Republican leadership. And we're telling them that if you don't get off your asses and do something about this, you're not going to have a political party anymore. And it looks like they're getting the message. They're finally responding. We're going to find out in due course here in the show. They're finally getting ready to actually fight against this rogue DOJ that's become, for all practical purposes, the DNC headquarters. And they're taking direct aim at Jack Smith, this pathetic, repulsive rogue prosecutor who may indeed end up getting indicted himself as a result of this latest pathetically and obviously desperate attempt to thwart what is appearing to be almost inevitable at this point, and that is the reascendance of Donald J. Trump to the presidency as the 47th president of these United States. All that and more, gang. Super chats are up. Send me your questions. I will answer them in due course. And before you do anything else, make sure to click on that link below and visit our good friends over at Home Title Lock. Gang, I'm telling you, I was shocked. I'm not kidding. I was shocked at when I was shown how easy it is to access the deed to my house, and not just access it, but change it. The deed to our homes is the only document that proves that we own it. But the problem is that the deeds to all our homes are online. And criminals are free to find your deed, forge your signature, refile as the new owner of your home, take out tons of loans, stick it using your home's equity, sticking you with all the debt. We don't find out about it until collections agencies come after us months later. And that's where our good friends over at Home Title Lock come in. Gang, they're amazing. Home Title Lock gives you the peace of mind that the deed to your home is absolutely and completely protected. Click on that link below right now. Just use promo code TurleyTalks. Then all you got to do is just enter your address, and you're going to get a no-obligation home title scan. It's a $100 value, absolutely free, and it's going to tell you whether or not you've already been a victim of deed theft. They're amazing. So don't wait. Use that promo code TurleyTalks. It's totally free. Don't wait for the worst to happen only to regret you didn't do something when you could have. Do what I've done, do what countless patriots have done across the nation. Click on that link below right now and secure your home today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Sir Walter Scott said it best. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. In other words, when one acts dishonestly, that corruption, that deception inevitably initiates a whole host of compounding deceptions that eventually and inexorably run out of control, so much so that the deceiver may end up caught in his own spun web. That is exactly what appears to be happening to the absurd special prosecutor Jack Smith and his utterly ridiculous sham indictment against President Trump. And according to Harvard constitutional professor Alan Dershowitz, Smith may himself be looking at his own indictment. Speaking on Fox Business the other day, Dershowitz made the argument that Smith himself could actually be indicted under the very terms of this indictment. I'll say that again. According to Dershowitz, the worst thing about the sham indictment is that Jack Smith could end up being indicted under the very terms of the indictment itself. The core of the indictment, the centerpiece, the linchpin, the crux, is that Donald Trump lied to the public. That's the key. Now, many of you may be familiar with my namesake, Jonathan Turley. I name drop him all the time on any legal issue. Professor of law at George Washington University. His argument against this indictment is that it's basically the prosecution of free speech. Right? The government is now officially threatening to throw you in jail if you speak out against their approved narratives. So if they say an election was absolutely pristine and secure, and you publicly declare there was fraud, they can now throw you in prison. So as a way of getting around that First Amendment charge, Smith is trying to convince a jury, and by the way, that jury needs no convincing. D.C. juries are notoriously corrupt. They're absolute wacko liberal nuts. And many are making the argument that the whole D.C. court system should be disbanded. But regardless, Smith is trying to convince a jury that Trump knowingly lied. He knew that the election of 2020 was so absolutely pristine. It was so honest, it would have made a Boy Scout blush. Trump knew that. He's always known that. But he decided to lie about it. And in lying about it, he incited a riot. That's, in a nutshell, as I understand it, that's in a nutshell what this indictment fundamentally is all about. Now, anyone who's anyone could see just on the surface, prima facie, how utterly absurd this is. Everyone who's anyone knows Trump is absolutely convinced the election is stolen. He may be deluded. He may be totally wrong, right, just for the sake of argument. He may be utterly delusional. But there's no way anyone can make the plausible argument that Trump believes that the 2020 election was the most pristine election ever to take place in history. And to make matters even worse, Jack Smith actually stepped in it. He stepped in one of the most ridiculous, worst self-owns imaginable because he cited as evidence that Trump knew there was no widespread fraud. He cited as evidence that Trump was told that there was no widespread fraud by the Department of Homeland Security's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. That's why we know Trump was lying, because according to Jack Smith, he was told personally by the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency that the election was completely pristine with no widespread fraud or interference. The reason why that's such a ridiculous self-own is that we now know, thanks to the Twitter files, that that agency directly interfered in the 2020 election by censoring Americans. You can't make this stuff up. Your Patriot professor is going to lose it here, gang. I mean, you're going to have to give me a straitjacket here. That agency worked closely with Twitter employees on numerous occasions to deliberately censor social media posts that they described as Russian disinformation. You know, such absurd notions like Biden's son had a laptop filled with emails detailing illicit international business deals he made with his father, along with crack-induced pornographic photographs. Of course, the morally upstanding, beyond reproach Joseph Biden would never do that. Russia! That came directly from this very agency that Smith cites as a reputable source for election integrity. You can't make this stuff up, gang. I mean, if this were a storyboard for a for some drama series, I mean, nobody in the room would take it seriously. They'd be like, no one's going to believe that. That's just too obvious. It's pathetic. Nobody's that stupid. This nut of a prosecutor cited as his evidence that Trump knew there were no shenanigans an agency, a cybersecurity agency that the Twitter files revealed to be engaged in the very shenanigans Trump is complaining about. But it gets worse. Because as I understand it, even if Trump knowingly lied, that's still protected speech. He can't be prosecuted for saying things he knows are not true. Again, for sake of argument. If that were the case, think of how many politicians would be prosecuted if that were the case. I mean, for heaven's sakes, Adam Schiff would be at Guantanamo Bay. And by the way, the Supreme Court's already ruled on this. The Supreme Court has ruled under an opinion of Chief Justice William Rehnquist that under the First Amendment, there is no such thing as a false opinion or false idea. The response to a false idea is the marketplace of ideas, or election day, which is what they're trying to take away from us, right? But apart from material incidents like signing a contract or defamation, whatever, which, by the way, is itself very hard to prove, but apart from that, lying is not a criminal offense. So just on the surface, this indictment is utterly and patently absurd. But it gets worse. Dershowitz argued that he read through the whole thing, this whole 40-plus page indictment, and he concluded that is, simply put, one of the most bizarre documents he's ever read in his entire legal career, especially given the fact that it lays the groundwork. It lays the groundwork for the indictment of the very person who is issuing the indictment. If the core of the indictment is that Donald Trump lied to the public, if that's the basis of indicting Trump, then Jack Smith himself has a huge problem. And that's because Jack Smith cites as his central evidence of this Donald Trump's speech that he made on January 6th. So in many respects, it's the centerpiece of the indictment in terms of the evidence given. The problem is that Jack Smith, according to Dershowitz, deliberately, willfully, and with malice leaves out Trump's call for his supporters to protest what? Make sure you protest what? Peacefully and patriotically. The indictment leaves out the key words peacefully and patriotically when it quotes his speech. And of course, those key words place that speech thoroughly within the realm of the protections of the First Amendment. In other words, Jack Smith doctored the speech, which is simply another way of saying Jack Smith lied. He deliberately misrepresented what Trump said. Again, as Dershowitz asserted, this is a lie. It's what we call a lie of omission. And if you're going to indict someone for telling lies, don't tell lies on the indictment. You see a pattern here? In fact, it gets even worse for Jack Smith. The fourth of the 4 charges that Trump is being indicted for is for his alleged conspiracy against rights, right, which involves 2 or more persons conspiring to injure and deny somebody the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured him by the Constitution. So Dershowitz asks, yo, Jack, You sure you want to go there? Because what if a court or the Supreme Court ultimately rules that Donald Trump had a right under the First Amendment to make his January 6th speech and do what he did? Which they will do, by the way. I mean, Jonathan Turley, Dershowitz, Robert Barnes, they're all arguing the Supreme Court's going to step in at some point and overturn any conviction. If Trump is convicted, the conviction will be overturned almost immediately by the conservative majority of the Supreme Court. They already did that with Bob McDonnell, the former Virginia governor, which is the last guy Jack Smith tried this nonsense with. The Supreme Court threw that conviction out. In fact, as I understand it, Jack Smith has had a number of his convictions thrown out. He doesn't have a very good track record in all of this. So Turley thinks the Supreme Court is going to get involved sooner. We'll have to see how it plays out. But no one worth their salt is taking this third indictment seriously. But Dershowitz is saying it gets even worse because if and when the courts toss this conviction, when they render judgment that Trump had a constitutional right to do what he did, then what did you, Jack Smith, just try to do? What did you actually do? You, Jack Smith, conspired to deny Trump of his rights. That's how serious this indictment is. If you're going to indict someone for lying, then don't tell lies on the indictment. And if you're going to indict somebody for denying people their constitutional rights, don't deny them their constitutional rights by indicting them for free speech. That's how utterly hypocritical this whole sham is. So I think Dershowitz brilliantly deconstructed this indictment as nothing more than a ridiculous parody of repulsiveness. And it appears that things are indeed heating up. Republicans are coming out in full swing. They're ready to take this nut prosecutor down. All the polls are behind him. Rasmussen says 65% of the American people see this as a sham indictment, as a pure weaponization of the Justice Department. So they've got a supermajority of the people behind them, and I think you're going to love what they're starting to do. But first, gang, you know how you can really stick it to the Democrats here. Click on the link below and get yourself some of these beauties here. These collectible, limited supply Trump cards. Gang, they're amazing. I don't know. Can I get them close? Look at these puppies. These are awesome, and they're authentic. They are so cool. Patriots played their anti-globalist Trump card against the left in 2016, and we're getting ready to play it again in 2024. So what better way to show your support for Trump's reelection than with these 5 collectible pieces of Trump art? These cards are limited supply, so don't wait. There's only 2,500 set of these cards. Can you see them all? Yeah, I think you can see them all. Maybe a little small, but these cards are set to be made just 2,500. They all come with a certificate of authenticity verifying that you own an original set. They make a great gift for any MAGA patriot in your life. And if you buy 2 sets, you also get a bonus gold Trump 2024 card absolutely free. These physical cards are high quality, made in America. They come in a very protective case. Don't wait. Limited supply. The next time you remember, they're likely to be gone. So click on that link below right now and get your Trump cards today. And let's show our support for the future number 47. All right. Town Hall. Town Hall is reporting that Republican firebrand Matt Gaetz is openly threatening Jack Smith with criminal contempt of Congress for what many perceive, obviously, as a blatant political witch hunt against Trump. Gaetz is calling for House Republicans to demand Smith appear before the Judiciary Committee within the next 15 days. If Smith fails to comply with that demand, then he should be held in criminal contempt of Congress. That would, in effect, make Smith the first prosecutor in American history to prosecute a case while being himself under criminal contempt. That would be beautiful. Gaetz is going further, arguing that if Attorney General Merrick Garland doesn't rein this absurdity in, which of course he won't, then he should face immediate impeachment. Now, this is huge because, as I've argued on numerous occasions here, the only reason why President Trump is being indicted right now and the entire nation is being subjected to this nonsense, the only reason ultimately is because the feckless Republicans allow it. I think it was DC Drano who said it. It was wonderful. While we may all be pissed off at these latest indictments, it's not like we don't have a GOP majority in the House to impeach Merrick Garland or Joe Biden for that matter. The Democrats get away with these antics only because a feckless, weak, donor-controlled Republican Party allows them to. I'll say that again, damn it. The Democrats get away with these absurd antics only because a bunch of feckless, weak, cowardly, donor-class-controlled Republicans allow them to. I'm ready to do my Clark Griswold Christmas rant. I came across a tweet that I think said it best. We are never going to win until we realize that playing by the rules doesn't work when the other side believes there are no rules. Abiding by parliamentary protocol doesn't work when the other side's declared war. And this is a weakness in the Republican Party that the Democrats have thus far been exploiting. They're willing to pursue tactics they know Republicans will never pursue because Republicans are worried that were they to do so, it would destroy the country. If you think it through, they're basically holding us hostage by our own love and fidelity to our nation. Literally everything these cultural Marxist Democrats are doing is predicated on a simple premise. They know that Republicans know that were the Republicans to match tit for tat these Democrat antics, then the Republic would quickly descend into a spiral of illegality and chaos, very much analogous to what we saw in the late Roman Republic. That fact is well known to the cultural Marxists that comprise today's Democratic Party. So the Democrats have assumed the role of the spoiled teen who feels he has a blank check of lawless behavior that his parents would never dare emulate, given that for adults to do so would destroy the family. So the left is acting the way they do because they know that were Republicans to respond in kind by mimicking their own antics, the end result would be the destruction of the republic that Republicans and conservatives love. So they're basically holding us hostage to our fidelity to our nation. But what these feckless Republicans have got to get is that in descending into these lawless, ridiculous antics, we have already lost our nation. They've already destroyed it. We have an echo of a nation, but we don't have our nation anymore. They have the Democrats have robbed us of the nation. They're burning it all down. They're going full George Floyd. They're burning it all down. So now the only question is, what the hell are you going to do about it to get our nation back? Enough of this, well, we have to let the process play out. Freaking Tim Scott said that with the first indictment, or with the first Mar-a-Lago raid this time last year. We have to let the process play itself out. They're not playing a process. They're not playing a process. They are weaponizing the system to silence the political opposition. This is fundamentally about whether or not the people still have the right to choose our own leaders. Or will they be selected by an approved set of the permanent political class? That's what these feckless Republicans are going to have to start asking themselves. They're going to need to they're going to have to start fighting if they expect to have a party anymore. And that's not mere hyperbole. You may have heard this, but we've got another report out here. This is very, very concerning for I don't think it's concerning for anyone else other than establishment Republicans. But while Trump is absolutely awash with cash, most particularly in his Save America PAC, the Republican Party is going broke. Have you seen this? The RNC in particular, and state parties. They're going broke. The GOP is going financially bankrupt. Patriots have pulled their money. They're not financially supporting a political party that can be so callously dismissive and deaf to the demands of their own freaking constituents. They're more accountable to CNN than they are to the heartland. How long are Republicans going to sit by and watch this monstrosity unfold without so much as lifting a finger to do anything about it? Or even worse, we got the likes of Judas figures like Mike Pence acting like they're faithful representatives of us. You simply couldn't find a more repulsive, abhorrent, repugnant pseudo-representative of this party than Mike Pence or Mitch Staring McConnell or Mitt Romney or Asa Hutchinson or Chris Christie. And irony of ironies, their donors still live in a world that thinks they're Trudeau'd. They still think in a world they live in a world that thinks that it's Trump that's bringing down the Republican Party, that MAGA is somehow a fringe minority within the Republican Party, that the Liz Cheneys actually make up the majority of the party. They actually live in that kind of refeudalized aristocratic bubble. And they don't realize that MAGA is the Republican Party. So this is the tension we talk about all the time on this channel. If you're a regular, you know about it. If not, make sure you smack the bell and subscribe button. You'll love it. It's a very important distinction between a populist right party and a populist light party. They're going through this in Europe a little bit, and that's why they have a lot of break-off parties that just form third parties. But a populist right party is a MAGA party through and through, from top to bottom. All rhinos, all neocons have either left the party or they've just adjusted themselves to the new political reality, right? It's a full-blown patriot party. A populist light party is a party that has a MAGA base, a MAGA grassroots, but a neocon establishment leadership. And the disparity between the two, the disparity between the grassroots and the donor class controlled leadership is just growing wider by the freaking second. And this is because a populist right party and a populist light party operate by two fundamentally different politics. The populist right party operates by a politics of the people, where the values, concerns, and interests of the MAGA base are represented faithfully by their elected officials, like Trump has done so well for the last, did for 4 years and even onward. However, a populist light party is governed not by the politics of the people, but rather by the politics of the establishment, where GOP elected officials promote and protect the values, concerns, and interests of the aristocratic permanent political class that is in turn amplified by the shameless cheerleading of the mainstream Marxist media. So this is the party with the likes of someone like Mike Pence. Pence sees the Republican Party as nothing more than a special interest group for the establishment, for the swamp. Pence, Romney, they're all dedicated ultimately to doing the bidding of the donor class that's in turn amplified by the advertiser-funded CNN, Pfizer-funded CNN, New York Times, Goldman Sachs. They care nothing. They literally care nothing about the working class men and women of our nation. Remember Pence's statement when Tucker was grilling him. America's not my concern. That's not my concern, Tucker. That's not my concern. Well, if any Republican leader is concerned with having a viable political party in the very near future, which better become their concern, all of this better become their concern. I mean, like as of yesterday. The Republicans had better be following Matt Gaetz here and push back against this rogue, renegade Justice Department and its weaponization of the legal system. Laura Ingraham said it best. The Justice Department has basically become the new DNC headquarters. They're effing arresting Biden's political opposition leader, for God's sake. This is insane. And if this isn't enough to awaken the Republican opposition to push back with 10 times the force of the Democrats, they don't deserve to be a party any longer. We will be watching very closely. All right. Over to you, gang. Over to you. As our moderator, Marla assembles our questions here. Click on that link below. Get your, you know what? I'm going to need to do this after this live stream. I'm getting so worked up here. Get yourself Mike Lindell's brand new pillows. I've got them. I lie on them every night, and I love them. He's done the impossible, gang. Mike has taken what was already one of the most comfortable pillows in the market. He's made it even better. My Pillow 2.0. You're going to love it. With Mike's new cooling fabric technology combined with his original My Pillow fill, this is truly the most comfortable pillow on the market. It's always cool to the touch, provides some of the best neck support I've ever experienced in a pillow, leading to some pretty incredible sleep. Now, for a limited time, Mike is providing over $150 off his new My Pillow if you use my promo code Turley. Okay, so that's mypillow.com/Turley. Go to that website. That'll give you a massive savings on a set of 4 My Pillow 2.0s. Mike's a true patriot. He's a friend of the show. He's been on it numerous times. He's a bona fide American entrepreneur. It's an amazing product, so don't wait. Mike told me that these new pillows are selling like hotcakes, and this offer is not going to last. So make sure you click on that link below right now. Use promo code Turley and get your My Pillow 2.0 today. All right, gang, let's see what we got with some of these questions. We're on fire today, right, Marla? All right, let me see. Let me get up here. Here are the questions. Let's go. All right. Well, okay. So Django Hang Liler. I'm confused, Dr. Turley. You said the real enemy is the Biden regime, yet he's connected to the CCP, who's praised by the World Health Organization and WEF. And the BRICS even support 15-minute city the line. This war is fake as wrestling. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by war and all that. Yeah, careful when you lump BRICS all together as supporting 15-minute cities. Careful linking the WHO and WEF with BRICS. They're doing their best to get into BRICS, but with Russia there, they're getting pushed back big time. Same with China. Remember, Soros now has given up on China, and he considers them enemy number 2 next to enemy number 1, Russia. So I think you're being a little bit simplistic there, if I may. No, when I say the real enemy is Biden regime, not China, even though China is making its way in through the Biden regime, through its influence, it's exactly what President Trump said about the trade. The real enemy is not China when it comes to trade. China's just being smart. I mean, we don't. If we're dealing with a nation with a bunch of corrupt leaders, and we can use that corruption to our advantage, of course we're going to do it. It's just being geopolitically smart. It's realpolitik, as we would say, a form of it. No, the real enemy is the corrupt DC swamp. It's the corrupt aristocratic political class that has combined bureaucrats and billionaires to sell out our nation, destroy our system, and put in a permanent political order with them on the top. That's the problem. Now, if the CCP can exploit that, sure, of course they're going to do that, but that's only because, as Trump would say, it's only because they're smart. They're not. You end the corruption in Washington, D.C., you're going to end CCP influence. It's that simple. You're going to end CCP influence. That simple. So that's why I'm just, don't take your eye off the freaking ball. Keep it on. Keep the eye on the dolts in D.C., the bullies in Brussels, the demons in Davos. That's what you got to keep your eye on. They're the trifecta of evil. And I mean, leave Moscow and Beijing and Tehran and so forth out of it, guys. I'm telling you, they're just constantly exploited. Oh, look over there, over there. Just leave it. I mean, it's just, I think it totally misunderstands it. All right, Greg Day, thank you so much, sir. Hi, Q, my friend. Thank you for the pound sterling. Long live MAGA King. Amen. Mitchell Ryan, good to see you, my friend. With all these indictments going towards Trump or false charges, do you think the Supreme Court will eventually step in and stop it? That's what Jonathan Turley thinks, at least with this latest one. I don't know if he would say the others, but at least with this latest one, with the J6. Yes, it looks like that's going to be shot down. So Turley thinks, and even Dershowitz, I thought, maybe not Dershowitz so much, but Turley thinks that there is a little bit of teeth with the first indictment with the classified documents. I don't see how that's even possible, since President Trump, the president, is constitutionally the one who has ultimate authority in all classification, all designation. So he's being accused of a crime that he can't commit. That's my understanding. Robert Barnes made that argument. So we'll see how that plays out there. But no, I think in the end, you're right. I think the Supreme Court will step in. At the very least, we may even end up seeing, if you can believe it, Biden pardoning Trump after Trump clobbers him in November of 2024. Because as things stand right now, this is why they're doing it. They know they can't win. They know this is going to be a loss that goes beyond even the margin of fraud. So, and Larry Sabato of Crystal Ball is sounding the alarm, saying, guys, right now Trump is polling, and he's been polling better than he's ever polled in 2016 or 2020. And we won by 30,000 votes between Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin in 2014. So if our 14-point leads or 9-point leads before the last election translate into only winning by a few thousand votes, and if Trump now is either even or beating Biden, we're screwed. That's what they're saying. So that's why you're seeing indictment after indictment after indictment. All right, Robert Milky, thank you for the gift, my friend. UP Shoot, it's almost as good to hear from you again, my friend. Thank you for the euro. It's almost as if it were of no gain to go against Donald Trump. That's one of the things I like so much. Isn't it interesting? It is. There is a judo element to it, isn't there? There's a counterintuitive aspect that every time they go after him, his poll numbers go up. And I've thought about this, UP. I think it's a couple of things. One, I think they're that desperate. They have nothing else. So they're just doubling down on what they have, which is weaponized legalism. But number two, and again, I was listening to Robert Barnes talk about Barnes. I love listening to his legal analysis, but I think he's right on this. The elites do not understand the people. I think this is what happened in the medieval feudalized era, is the aristocratic class lost touch with the common man, the people, and that resulted in the Reformation. The Reformation was the Protestant Reformation was basically a populist backlash that changed the map of Europe forever. So I think that's exactly what we're seeing. We're dealing with a refeudalized neo-Aristotelian class. Aristotelian, listen to me, my philosophy is coming out here. Plato and Aristotle, neo-aristocratic class. And they are, of course, made up of billionaires and bureaucrats. So they have tremendous amount of power in the hands of very few. And we have a new religious fundamentalism that's being posed in the form of wokeism through not so much a clerical class, but a clerisy class. And they've lost touch with the people, and now the people are exploding. And they're, of course, exploding across the pond as well. And they've already been exploding in Russia. Many people don't realize Putin has led a massive populist revolt with Narendra Modi in India, who's led a massive Hindu populist revolt. And in many respects, ironically, what we're seeing in China with the Neo-Confucian revolution is, in many respects, a revolt of the people who did want capitalism. It turns out they did after Deng Xiaoping brought it in. And they said, yes, we want free markets. We want to do, okay, you got it. You got it. And so a combination of bringing the people's religion back as well as the people's economy back is doing. So, yeah, Turkey, the Islamic populist revolution there. There's just no way around it. The world, Pan-Africanism, my heavens, that's a populism like we had never even imagined could be happening throughout the continent. And they are basically turning their back on the woke West. So absolutely, I think you're right. I think there's no gain to this stuff, and they end up losing the more they do. It's sort of like the old Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner cartoon. So funny. All right, Santa Filipina, thank you so much for the gift. Nostalgia Catholic, we need a widely available master list of companies which are woke so as to not only boycott them from the customer standpoint, but also from the investor standpoint. Pull their plug. That would be neat. I think redballoon.work may have some resources on that. And you can also check in with Public Square. Just interviewed the owner of Public Square yesterday. That should be up this weekend. They may have a database as well, but that would be good. So again, yeah, we need boycotts and boycotts. You need both, and that creates the parallel economy, really a parallel civilization that's rising. Nostalgia Catholic, I'm with you 1,000% there. There's also, I think it's called American Values Investing that you can get into that invests only in patriot companies, patriot-owned companies. Adam Bauman, I'll be honest, I wish I didn't live in such interesting times. I hear you, Adam, but we're together, man. We're together. We've never known each other without this. So we're together. But it is look, this is where, I think recovering a classical conception of life is so important. A classical conception of life which is just simply reality, begins with the transcendent, the eternal, the sacred. Right, it's triangular, So it begins. It's pyrammatic, I guess. It begins with the absolute, top of the mountain summit, with those things that don't change. So why do the nations rage and conspire in vain? All of this is we had all kinds of intrigue in Rome. We had all kinds of intrigue in Byzantium. All kinds of intrigue, in Christendom. We have all kinds of intrigue, and imperial this and that. This is nothing new under the sun. It's nothing new under the sun. We've been here before, okay? Stay focused on the redemption that cannot possibly be robbed of us, or of which we cannot be robbed. Stay focused on the sacred, the absolute, the true, the good, and the beautiful. The world redeemed in Christ in classical Christian terms. Who now stands, as Romans 8 says, neither height nor depth nor anything else, and the whole of the created order can separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus. Christ stands above the whole of the cosmos, holding it together. So all of this insanity is being given to us to fight. This is the ultimate theme of the Lord of the Rings. Evil is here to be defeated. Evil has come to us, and we have been called, more than any other generation, we have been called to rise up and fight it. And as long as you stay focused on the true, the good, and the beautiful for which you are fighting, right? Think of Samwise Gamgee to Frodo. There's good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. As long as you stay focused on the good that has already triumphed ultimately, then you can fight the evil in its various instantiations. So there you go, my friend. Generalissimo, no one involved says crooked election should get overturned. Oh, no, that's not true. Carrie Lake is saying that, Generalissimo. Carrie Lake is saying that. Why impeach Biden? Just overturn the crooked election. That's what she's saying. Also, watch out when they say our democracy. That's a dog whistle. Okay, good. That's right. It's the democracy that the elite approve of, that George Soros approves of. Bunch of numbers there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Salty Army is Legion. Salty Army are Lions. Amen. Salty Army. Jill Sirignano, thank you for your gift. Sirignano, I think I should say. Della Lynn, thank you for your gift. Nicholas Tesla, thank you for your gift. Anthony McNabb, I'm hoping the Supreme Court will step in and thwart the D.C. court. I'm hoping that soon we could start talking about rebuilding America, MAGA 2024. Absolutely. And we're already doing it with the parallel police, the parallel economy. Again, check out my interview with Public Square. We're already doing it. So the building has started. Twitter, Musk taking over Twitter, just doing parallel everything. So we have a parallel civilization. But my, oh my, will it not be amazing when we can finally see that parallel civilization become the mainstream and rebuild our country and return to faith, family, and freedom. That's what we're doing. VW Bear, Chunk Yogurt, back to Supreme Court. That's right. Nick Marilus, you are amazing, and so are you, Nick. Thank you, my friend. Hi, Kane. Dr. Stu, do you feel there's a chance that Trump will be detained or successfully removed from the ballot for 2024? And if he is, do you feel there's any chance he would lose as a result? Okay, so no, I think well, if he is, he could lose, but I think he would only be removed. He would only be removed in blue states where he had no chance. No, I don't think there's any chance of being removed from Arizona or Georgia or Wisconsin or anywhere where Republicans have a very, very strong presence. That's not going to happen. So, no, I don't think that's going to happen. No, I don't think he'll be detained or I don't think he'll be going to prison. I don't think there's any chance of that. I don't know if any of these are going to be fully tried, until after the 2024 election, which will make them moot at that point. So, no, I think we're okay at this point. I'm not seeing anything to suggest otherwise. But again, if it changes, we'll deal with it then. Nicholas Tesluk, can we win in 2024 against professional cheaters, right? What can we do to stop the steal before it happens afterwards, as in Arizona? It's too late. Absolutely, Nicholas. And again, so that's why that's why Trump is saying, and it's interesting, he's the only one talking about this, that we need the largest ballot harvesting, mail-in ballot operation in history going into 2024. It's got to be organized. And it would be something akin to the California ballot harvesting initiative, where Republicans have been winning in +4 Democrat districts. And they've been doing it largely through evangelical churches. So they've been ballot harvesting inside the evangelical churches. And evangelicals generally are voting 80% Republican anyway. But, the turnout itself, the turnout may only be 40%, 50%. Whereas with ballot harvesting, supplementing the actual turnout, you can actually get 90%, 95% turnout of a vote that votes 80% Republican. And that's how the Southern California ballot harvesting strategy has been working so brilliantly for California Republicans. Virtually all the gains we're making in 2022 were all coming out of California. They did it in 2020. We almost won the House. It was stunning. We almost won the House. I should say it's stunning. It was part of the pattern there, but we almost won the House, largely because so many so many California Republicans re-won seats they lost in 2018 to Democrats, because the Democrats first started using ballot harvesting in 2018. California made it the law of the land there. So Republicans just beat them at their own game. So Trump is saying we need that, and we need the people to awaken to such an extent that what we're seeing here is nothing less than the federal government saying we are no longer allowed to choose who the president is. The president will not be chosen by the people any longer. It will only be chosen by those approved of by the deep state. We need so many people awakening to that fact that the vote is overwhelming, and it goes way beyond the margin of fraud. So, which is, I understand, about 3 or 4%. So if we're able to do that in key states like Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, President Trump will be number 47. Ramirez, the alpha male. Sometimes you have to be a counterpuncher. That's correct. And no one counterpunches like Trump. That's for sure. Lou Ellen Stevens, thank you for your gift. Michael LaRusso, Tim Scott needs to be primaried out of the Senate. I'm with you, Michael. I'm not a Tim Scott fan. I'm not. I'm with you. I'm not a South Carolina Republican fan, to be honest with you. They seem to be giving us rhino after rhino after rhino. So I'm with you. Again, he's not horrible, but no, there's too much rhino in him, man. Too much establishment in him. Anthony McNabb, time has come to relegate the Democratic Party to the position of a minor political movement. I'm with you. If we can create a supermajority like Orban has been able to do with the Fidesz party in Hungary. Remember, Orban beat out all center-left parties combined in the last election with a supermajority supermajority vote. So, yes, that's exactly what we're going to have to do. The plan is in order to save our republic, we're going to have to turn MAGA into a supermajority. Now, we can already see it. We can already see it on the electoral maps. So when you look at county election maps, right, after a presidential election, and you look at all the red and compare all the blue, right? You take a red marker, and if you had to fill in every county that went red, all 2,500 of them, 2,500 of our 3,200 counties or so. If you take your marker and you fill it in red, your marker will never leave the page. Your marker could stay on the page, touching the page the whole time. It's a mega state. MAGA is a mega state. And then if you take your blue marker, you have to do your little splashes here or there, little patches of blue here or there, mainly around coastal cities and urban areas in Central America. Otherwise, it's all red. And that we're going to have to learn how to tap into that strategically so as to crush these guys. Just no way around it. Because we have the supermajority. It's there. We just have to work it out politically. Nick Marilees, OMG, so passionate. Yes, I got worked up in this one. Yes, after this, I'm going to rest with my head comfortably on a Mike Lindell, my pillow. Generalissimo, Republicans are trained to not act and stop others from acting. They follow all the rules in a system that's rigged against them. You're absolutely right. It's the donor class that's doing it. Blame Romney McDaniel. I agree with you 1,000%. She's related to Romney, isn't she? Yeah, VW Bear, by the way. Thank you, sir, for that. I agree. Again, it's the Nationalist Populist Light Party versus the Nationalist Populist Right Party, and the coalition, the mega coalition that's forming is MAGA all the way. Did you see that? Democrats? There's a new study that just came out. Democrats are losing non-white working class now. They're down 30 points with non-white working class. We've been seeing that trend going now for at least 10 years, where the white working class, they lost the white working class completely in 2016, where counties, nearly 200 counties in Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, Pennsylvania, that voted Democrat in every single presidential election since 1984, I believe, suddenly switched and voted Trump, many by 20 to 40 points. So they lost the white working class. Hillary Clinton lost the white working class so much, that even if she got the amount of Obama's black vote, she still would have lost 2016. She lost the white working class that much, which was the staple, the labor heart, the labor foundation of the old Democrat FDR coalition. Well, now they're losing the non-white working class. So we have the makings of a supermajority here, especially if you bring in RFK Jr. and the populist left, and you just try to find a coalition, especially now, well, I won't get into it too much, but you just try to find a populist coalition that is supermajority, that can knock out the permanent political class. Will finally be rid of these clowns. Vicky Teen, do you think the House will ever impeach Joe Biden or God? They better. So word on the street is they're being told, and they're even telling their donors, but they're being told by the pollsters that if you don't act, you're not going to have a party. They're not going to come out for you. We're already starving them. Financially. So they're getting it. And again, that's where you got to hit them where it hurts with the money. And maybe even find out who these donors are. Yeah, so not a threat. I'm just saying. I would be curious who is supporting Mike Pence at this point. Who would be so pathetically out of touch with reality? The political reality of the Republican Party to be supporting Mike Pence. It's just the times we live in. Rosgriz, Mr. Turley, are you planning on posting for the upcoming elections like last year? We are going to need a substantial outreach to help the MAGA candidates and President Trump. Of course, Rosgriz, of course. Just don't get mad at me. At the end of the election, we're going to be cheerleaders. We're going to give good analysis. But guys, we all know the shenanigans can win out in the end. Now, not win out ultimately, but they can thwart an election. But as we're finding here, they don't thwart a movement. So don't get mad at us. Don't shoot the messengers here. Right? All right. I remember Rich Barris, he was getting so much flack on election night. And it was like, guys, we're just doing our best to try to understand what's going on here. He was absolutely right in all of his analysis. And then their shenanigans kick in. Obviously, we all saw the shenanigans in Arizona. Blame the effing Republicans in Arizona for not doing anything. Don't blame the messengers here. So yes, we will be covering elections. Just, make sure you're in our corner when we need you as well. Emma Privacy Bo, what is going on with the hackable machines? I don't know. I do know, I wouldn't say no, my intuition is we're seeing all this happening right now because the left does not believe they can cheat their way out of 2024. This is happening. This is an admission that the left believes they have lost 2024 apart from trying to take Trump out. So that's why they've gotten so desperate. Pony Up should have on Steve Gosney. He thinks Trump defense could have New York charges dropped because lack of cause of action charge and outside of New York jurisdiction. Great. Yes, I will take a look at that. And finally, I believe our last one here, Anthony, my friend Anthony McNabb. Bring on Semibird. He's running for governor of Washington State. He would be great for your show. All right. Tell him to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to have him on. All right, guys. You ready for your weekend? Let's rock and roll. Oh, I think I just saw one. Riley, hold on. I got one live here. Dr. Steve, sorry. How many? I missed it. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I had it. See if I can get it, Riley. How many electoral votes does Trump need on election night to make sure faithless electors don't cost him the election in 2024? Well, he'd need 271 at least. But no, I don't think you have to worry about that. Not with all this. If he wins and he wins overwhelmingly, I think the nation is forever changed at that point, and for good. Dr. Steve, any news on the recall effort on Katie Hobbs in Arizona? Any thoughts on Kari Lake's future pains? I checked up on the recall effort about 2 weeks ago, and I've not seen any activity. So we need to hold a couple of the organizations that were going to that were putting up the recall effort against Katie Hobbs. Hold them account. What's going on there. And Kari Lake, I heard she is seriously considering run for Senate. It's on its way to Arizona Supreme Court, her case. So we'll have to see what goes on with there. But there were some exciting things happening at some point, but it's quieted down. Let's see, Seacrez, if we could implement a state-level electoral college, wouldn't that prevent a lot of this crap from happening to begin with? Question is, how do we do it? That would be interesting. Yeah, Seacrez. Yeah, that's what I mean about creating the super state. We're in a position to completely dominate and totally marginalize these blue patches. And as soon as we figure out how to do it, I mean, I think we'll solved a lot right there. So, but that's a good question. I don't know. I haven't studied the issue, so I wouldn't be able to give a learned response. Jeremy Bottoms, what state should MAGA focus on in 2024 to expand the electoral chances of winning? How would they terraform them to make them competitive? North Carolina's example, great state and local GOP, Mark Robinson, Dan Bishop. Absolutely. I think we're tracking exactly right. Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Get those five. They are ripe for the taking. Get those five. We'll have a permanent majority for the next 100 years. Arizona shouldn't be hard. Although it's been difficult because you've had a lot of the California crowd move in and bring their crap politics with them. And normally that's not the pattern. When we see refugees moving into places like Florida, Texas, North Carolina would be a perfect example. It makes the state even redder, right? So that's really key. So I think what we do is we double down in terms of creating a populist coalition, because that overcomes the divide between left and right, as we're seeing with our RFK Jr. We create a populist coalition, a true coalition of the people, reawaken the local Republican parties there to that coalition, and at the same time, master ballot harvesting. We put those two together, particularly in evangelical churches, where you take a demographic that votes 80, 90% Republican and get them to be 95, 98% turnout, because you have the actual turnout on election day, but then you have the ballot harvesting of those who, for whatever reason, just don't turn out. Get that 80% Republican vote into a 95% turnout, and we got this. We got this, man. And it's going to be amazing. Trump 47 is going to be the freaking bomb. And remember, the Democrats will most likely lose the Senate because they have they're defending 2-to-1 seats, like what we had in 2022. We had to defend 23 seats, 24 seats, something like that. And they only had to defend 7. And we only lost 1. We defended all successfully. We lost 1 in Pennsylvania, Toomey's seat, and he was so pathetic and ridiculous anyway. Now the shoe's on the other foot. They have to do that. So if we play our cards right, it's going to be amazing. So let's stay focused and let's do this, guys. I love you. I love each and every one of you. Rock and roll. Keep moving. It's going to be a great, great, great year. Hard, rough, infuriating, as you can see, but stay focused on the good. There's good in this world, and it's worth fighting for. I love you. God bless.